ago, I decided to go and actually look at those MMC series.
Okay.
I must be honest with you, my mind was blown away, and I actually kind of came to the conclusion that you said um, less is more. So I think that is where I am. That there are so many things I thought I knew, but looking at the first part of the videos, I realized that I didn't quite get them. I was looking at those content, or rather context from the view of other people.
Okay.
I needed to see them my own way, which is which is what I found out that I needed to see them my own way.
That's great.
That's
Just a
it.
pause. Sorry, just a pause. Hey Aditya, how are you doing? Hello Aditya. Okay. We can't hear you talking, but your mic is open. I guess can you okay, can you help us by muting the mic actually? Yeah, great. So welcome to the team actually, first of all. And if you could do present yourself, the names and some trading background, that would be helpful for us. And same to us, we do the same because I guess this is our first session with us. Well, you're welcome, man. Oh wow, he just left. Anyways, Bozo, you can continue.
Okay, thank you. As I was saying,
Yes.
I said I found out that there were so many things I was assuming that I understood, and the difference is that it is one thing to know the context of something, to know what it is, to how it is defined, but it's a completely different thing to be able to now use that and try
Correct.
to apply it when it comes to the market condition and market situations. And I think this is where I think you really, really, really need to come up. I know that there are some personal questions I would have loved to ask you, but I hope maybe if I have the chance, I want to ask you directly if you don't mind me, because now when I say personal question, it's not personal as in person, but they are personal with regards to the market trading.
Okay. Great.
Yes, so it's not a personal question about your life. No, that is not what I mean. Personal as to certain things, what you do, how you do what you do. I
Correct.
would love to ask you, but it won't be. This may not be the best place, if you don't mind me putting it that way.
Yeah, no problem. If personal
Okay.
questions regarding to what about trading stuff like
The
that, you
market,
can
yes, yes,
ask.
yes, yes, yes,
I
nothing
don't.
to do with. Yes.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. So I
Okay.
guess at the end you might ask those questions, and same for Coyote. Great.
Okay. Then.
The
Thank you
the
very
other
much.
question. Nah, you're welcome, man. So the other question is, I know this is a personal question. If you're willing, though, how what's the wins and the losses of this month, starting with any of you?
Yeah, I don't trade every day, but I found out that because I have two types of accounts. I have a small personal account, and then I have a prop account, which is a prop challenge.
Correct.
And those prop challenge in this month, because I took some kind of over traded. So the
Yes.
the challenges that were supposed to be, uh, I was up 2% on one, I was up 1%, but they are all now in drawdown. So that is not very good. So
Yeah,
which
it's
is
okay.
why,
It's okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, I'm just telling you answering your questions.
Yeah, great, great. And
Yes.
Coyote,
Yeah, break even.
okay, that's great. Actually, on my end, I'm down a lot. Yeah, I'm down a lot. So that's what I had to do a session with you guys and something called a self reflection. That means going through, just showing you how I go through my every monthly, like every monthly. How do I go through my past trades over that month? So that's was the goal for today, actually. I guess let me just get started, and questions might be asked at the end of this session, and it will be a quick one. Trust me. I will share my screen. I hope you can see my screen right now. Do you?
Yes. Yes.
So that's beautiful. So I have my self reflection for this month, May, right there, as you can tell. So I start with viewing the whole month's trades. I also utilize prop farms also. So this is one of my account. This is a reflection of other accounts because the same trades have been taken once. And this is what has happened this month. You can tell I'm down like -2. That is almost 4% on my account because it's 50K. That's 2%. That's 4% down right there. And I just won 1 and 2. The first trade was okay. The second trade was not part of the trading plan actually, but it was okay. But it had a low risk to reward ratio, right? And you can tell these are 12 trades which I had taken this month. And mostly out of 12, 2 are wins and 10 of them are losses, which is quite not good. So I had to do an overview of my maize trade, and you can tell key metrics. We have total trades, those are 12. Profit and loss, that's around 2,000. And swap fees I've paid a lot. That's almost the 1%, like 10% of what I've lost. Commissions is okay, and the net balance is 2,440. And these are just instrument breakdown, the entries and stop losses, lot size, and so forth. This is what I do for my self-reflection, how much I invest onto those. And as we did our analysis, all these pairs we had done the monthly overview, that means all these pairs were being executed with the correct bias. So I was like, okay, what might be the problem? Did I follow my trading plan? And this is from my playbook actually. So if it's a bearish, did I follow the candle bias, narrative, context, entry, and risk to reward? Did I stick to this only, to this scenario only if we were bearish? And if we were bullish, did I stick to this? That means for respect candle and disrespect candle, did I stick to this? And I had to do self-reflection onto the charts. Like I hopped onto the charts, and as you can tell, these pairs, the same pairs I'd lost, the same pairs are within the watch list of self-reflection. So let's get into the charts and see if I had executed correctly according to my trading plan, as you can see. And my trading plan or playbook is quite easy. So candle, if it's on monthly chart, if we have disrespect candle, this is a bearish scenario. I'm looking to take that low. That's my point of interest. So if I go down time frame and I see we have narrative on weekly, then that's narrative. I look for the context and my point of interest. Then I will go on to my 4-hour time frame to take that entry. Same. if I don't have a narrative on the weekly chart, I'll go down time frame, that's daily, to look for my narrative. And also, you already know the narrative is just an FEG, a fair value gap. I tend to call them gaps. So same, if I see my narrative or gap on daily, I go on lower time frame, that's 1 hour, and I look for my sharp turn entry. Risk to reward is 1 to 2. That's it for bearish disrespect, and for bearish respect, it's the same. I'm looking the opposite of it. So if we respected this candle, then I'm looking to go onto the opposite PDLA. So you can tell this is my point of interest. Let me zoom. So this is my point of interest. So I'm bearish into this scenario. Before the point of interest, we might have another point of interest which created that narrative right there, an FEG. So this is monthly. So if I go into weekly, I see an FEG, I take that as my narrative. The third candle is the third candle's high or lows is my point of interest to which I'm looking for to take my entry within that area, which is quite known as context. And same entry, sharp turn. So if it's weekly, sharp turn is on 4 hours. So if it is daily, sharp turn is on 1 hour. That's it. And for the bearish scenario, for the bullish scenario, it's vice versa. So same, easy peasy. So did I stick to this for this month? That's quite nice. I had to check onto those pairs which are taking those entries, and I had to add them on the self-reflection checklist. So let's open to do that a quick analysis of that. So let me just go into charts. So I hope you can see my trading view. As I said, these are the pairs for self-reflection like that. They're around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 pairs like that. So let's start with the monthly Audi chef. So if I look onto my monthly Audi chef, I was quite bearish. If I go into weekly, I can tell that we have no FEG going down. So what did we have? We had this fair value area which got respected. So this was month May 12th. That's when this fair value area got disrespected. That's week. So if I go into that daily, I can tell that we had a sharp turn. Since this is a PLA, this is a PLA. Oh wow, that's nice. So this is a PLA, that's a fair value area. So that means if it is respected, that means we're creating a wick. That wick creates a sharp turn. So we had that gap into our PLA and gap out of the PLA. So if I had to stack onto my plan, since we were bearish this month, we had this bearish FEG right there. So I have found my bearish FEG. Let's go into 1 hour. So onto 1 hour, this was a bearish FEG, and we had a sharp turn. That's gap, that's gap. If I had taken this entry, that would have been a win, and this was my point of interest. And this area around, that's my context to which I'll be looking for my entries. And so this was a win. If it is a win, I'm marking it with green. Okay, the other thing is, let's go into daily. After having that fair value gap, we had created another fair value gap right there. Same month. What we are looking for, we are just looking for bearish FEGs on weekly and bearish FEGs on daily. So on same month, we had another bearish FEG right there. So let's go down time frame 1 hour. Okay, we had this bearish FEG, and this was our target. Price just went and get tagged. That bearish FEG got tagged. That's a narrative, right? So we are looking for a sharp turn to target our point of interest right there. So we had that gap. And another gap is that if you look closely, this candle just hit our point of interest. That means this entry got nullified. So we weren't looking for any entries right there because our context target has been reached, or point of interest. So that's what you can see. I don't have an entry along this side. Beautiful. We are done with that, right? We go another pair. That's USD chef. Same on USD chef. I was quite bearish this month. If you look onto our past charts, onto Discord, we were bearish on USD Chef. And the target was this previous month is low, like there. So what's the goal? I'm going on to daily or weekly just to look for those FEGs. I go on to daily. Okay, into weekly. If I look onto weekly, we had these equal lows like there, which got respected actually. But did we create an FEG going low that month? No, we didn't create a weekly FEG. So if we go on to daily, we had created that gap, and this gap was created 21st May, Wednesday. That gap was created like there. So we have our narrative, we have our target, and along here is our context. What do? We go down time frame. That's our entry time frame, 1 hour. So if we go into 1 hour, you can see this was a beautiful entry. Did we create a sharp turn off of this? Actually, no, we didn't create any sharp turn. We can there is no a gap going high. Only gap going high was this, and this got respected. So this was another thing I had learned from self-reflection. There is no gap going high, right? But we had this gap created which got respected. Does that makes me not take an entry? Actually, on my end, I do take an entry. So if I go higher time frame, I can tell that we have this something called candle signs, right? So if I don't see a sharp turn, like we always see this sharp turn, I always go higher time frame to see what that candle does. If we have this respect candle, that means we are just respecting that high to continue low. So that's one confluence. We have a respect candle on that. And if you go on to 1 hour, we had created an FEG off of that respect candle right there. So I had to take that an entry. So we took that an entry. This is the reason, if we don't have a sharp turn, just go higher time frame to see what that candle does. So this was a win. So if we go on to daily, did we have another FEG on that day, on this month? Actually, we didn't have any bearish FEG. What we had is a bullish FEG right there. That means we are respecting these lows. Oh, okay. Is this an FEG though? I didn't see this actually. Now that was quite small. Not interested on those. So this we mark it a screen. Let's go on to New Zealand CHF. Same on this. I remember, is it Alex Okayode? You had asked a question. We had a respect candle right there, but if you look closely, we aren't respecting anything off of price action. And I just have one rule: I don't call the tops or the lows. That means I'm not trying to call reversals, right? So for this scenario, I was bearish. Why? Because we had this fair value area, which price just land liquidity in that time, but we were just creating this respect candle off of nothing. So I was bearish on this. And if we go into weekly, I was looking for those bearish gaps, right? Weekly, we didn't have any bearish gap. So same, we were respecting this fair value area right there. And this is beautiful because that fair value area is overlapping with the FEG, high probability to hold price to continue low. So weekly, we didn't see any FEG going low. What about daily? On daily, we had an FEG there going low. So if you look closely, we had this gap, right? And we just went, we got that fair value area tagged, right? So what was our anticipation on this? This was around April, and we were on to May, right? Around like there. So the anticipation is for this May is to sweep liquidity, either that high or this high, and creating an FEG going low. Why? Because we had an FEG going high right there to create a sharp turn. That's what we were looking for. And what did we do? We created a fair value gap going down. And there is where we take our entry. Everything I'm doing this as a self-reflection past month according to my trading plan. according to my playbook. I'm not doing it off of what the other details which I did in terms of emotions and so forth. I'm just doing it mechanically. So we had this gap right there to continue low, and we have a point of interest, and around here is a context to which we look for entries. So if I go on to 1 hour just to look for a sharp turn entry, what do I see? Boom, we had that sharp turn entry right there. So that's a gap going high and a gap going low. I took I didn't take, actually, hypothetical, taking an entry off of that. And there's these types of entries. Okay, there's these type of entries. Just if the third candle closes within the second candle just of creating that FEG, our stop loss is above the swing high or the swing low. But this, if it creates a bag or breakaway gap, our stop loss is above that breakaway gap. Let's say, I guess we might find one. I will show you. So 1 to 2, just remember 1 to 2, and it was a win. And I mark this as green. If we go on to daily, did we have any other gap going low? Look closely, no any other gap until we delivered on our point of interest right there. Then let's go to US oil. Sorry guys. For US oil, I was bearish. Why I was bearish? First, we had this disrespect candle disrespecting that, and also that disrespect candle disrespected this swing low right there. And I was like, okay, through candle signs, I'm bearish, targeting this low right there. So going on to weekly, do we have any FEG? Wow, we had an FEG right there, and this was around March, and this was April, and this was April where we got tagged right there. But May 5th, we had this bearish gap right here on weekly. And if I go on to 4-hour time frame, looking off of that gap right here, my bad, I just took this off of April, my bad, that's for April, my bad. Let me go lead of that. So this was I didn't see this gap being created though. So that gap, we had an ST, that's a gap in, gap out. This would have taken us out right there. It would have taken us out like 1 to 2. Wow. And the other thing is, if we had entry as a 2 candle rejection right there, same, a gap into our this is a sharp turn like on 2 candle rejection, that gap and the gap out, we can see there is a gap right here. And same, this is a consolidation candle just closed within that, just taking an entry 1 to 2 right there. As always, swing high right there, 1 to 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and that would have been a win. So I guess 2 candle rejection, you guys know, right? So 1 to 2, that would have been a win. So if this was 1%, we are risking 1% to win 2%. That means 1% is out, 2% in. That means we get 1%, right? So that's a win. I'll mark it as green. But also, if we look closely, that was off weekly, right? That was off weekly. But on daily, after we had respected that fair value gap right there, and still we want to deliver off of that, we had a beautiful gap right there. We had a breakaway gap. We had that gap right there. So this was around May 1st, right? That gap was when that gap is when got that's the third candle, just for confirmation, got created. And this gap is where I took my entry. That's a win if you look closely. Let me just show you guys. If you look closely on my self reflection, and if you go into my entries like that, you can check that US oil, that was on 5th, where this just got hit TP, and this was on 1 hour time frame, and the entry was through the daily as my narrative. So this was a beautiful win, and this is the only trade which followed my trading plan. Let's continue. Share something else window. So beautiful. And the entry was taken off of 1 hour right there. This entry right there, it was taken off of that, and it was a beautiful win. And I guess 1 out, 2 in, 2 in. So it's a win, right? That's beautiful. And this is only looking for FEGs on daily and weekly. So did we have any bearish FEG on that month? Yeah, we did actually. This was bullish, and we're coming off of that, and we had this bearish FEG right there. Actually, I didn't see this. Right there, and our target is right there. If I go down time frame, 1 hour, we had our gap, like our sharp turn. This isn't a sharp turn actually, but this is our gap. And do we have our gap into the narrative? There is a gap into the narrative. Any gap out of the narrative? Yeah, price just consolidated, and we had created this small gap right there. But do we call this a sharp turn? Honestly, no. What do we need for a sharp turn? We just see a gap into a narrative and a gap off of a narrative. That's why I didn't mark this FEG right there. So this wasn't part of our trading plan. Let's go into daily on US oil. Any other gap being created going bearish? No. What about weekly? Apart from this, nah. And I was done for US oil, hypothetically. So let's go to another pair, that's CHF. So if we look closely on CHF, I was bullish. If I go into weekly, just looking for those favorable gaps, we had one light here. But this was around April 21st. It got respected. That means we're still bullish. And this is where the first week of May. So any FEG? No. Let's go into daily. Did you have FEG on daily going high? If you look closely, this was May. Yeah, we did have an FEG like here. That's an FEG which was created around May 2nd. And our target was like there. So FEG target. Let's go into 1 hour. What about entry? So did we get a sharp turn? We did get a sharp turn. And the sharp turn is like here. We did get a FEG into a narrative and FEG out of a narrative. And entry was taken like there, and boom, we got stopped out. So this was part of the trading plan, and we had a loss like there. But also there are types of FEGs. You can tell this is a type of rejection. So this is a rejection FEG. We need to take those into consideration because rejection FEG tend to sweep low, to sweep highs or lows, then to continue into the intended direction. So I had to stick onto the plan and took that execution. So that's another thing I had learned right there. Let's go onto our daily. Come on, what's the time? So any FEG going high? Now we don't have any daily FEG going high. So price also had delivered, which is quite nice. What about the weekly? The weekly, we don't have that. So this was a beautiful loss actually within the trading plan. Let's go on to GBP JPY. Beautiful. For GBP JPY, I was quite bullish. Why? Because we respected this swing low right there. And what's my target? The target was right there, that swing high. And if we go into weekly, did we have an FEG going high? Actually, we did have FEGs going high, respecting that, but it was this first. These candles were created in May, so we didn't have an FEG on May. On weekly, what about daily? Daily, actually, we did have an FEG, and this was created around May 2nd. And let's go down time frame. Down time frame. Okay, that's 1 hour. Come on. So if I go down time frame 1 hour, what do I see? I see a sharp turn, a gap into, a gap out. Took my entry. Actually, I had taken it around there. I guess I took an entry around there. I just missed that move, and price just went off of me. And we had swept that. I was looking for a sharp turn, but it didn't happen quickly. What did it do? Price just created another swing low and went down to sweep that swing low. That's not a two candle rejection. What do we need to see for a two candle rejection? We just need to see that, boom, sweep that's two candle rejection right there. So if we go higher time frames, those are two candles. And that was a beautiful lows within the trading plan. What about weekly? We didn't have an FEG. What about daily? That was one going high before we had delivered onto our target right there. So any FEG going to our target, we had that breakaway gap. That's an FEG. We had another FEG right there, but price eventually delivered. Once price has delivered, we don't look for entries anymore. We just step back because price tend to respect those sometimes and create sharp turns. Like you see a gap right there, a gap right there, price will continue low, stuff like that. So that was a beautiful lows right there within GBP JPY the past month. Let's go on to Audi JPY. For Audi JPY, same. I was quite bullish onto this. We respected that swing low right there to continue high, and that was my target right there. So if I go into weekly, NFEG going high, you can tell this was May, now FEG going high. So what about daily? Daily that month, this was May. Okay, that was a FEG right there, which was created on May 3rd. Okay, let's go. This was a beautiful one. We had that FEG coming off of fair value area overlapping. This is a beautiful high probability one. So that was our target right there, and context right here. Let's go on to 1 hour to see if we can have an entry of that. And we did have our entry, which was quite beautiful. As you can tell, a sharp turn. We had that gap into our fair value area and a gap out. And this is a breakaway gap. So how do we take breakaway gap entries? Stop losses. Like this is a breakaway gap. Stop loss should be placed outside of that breakaway gap, right? So I had placed it outside right there. If I had placed within that or around it, it would have been stopped. Price would have stopped me out, right? And that's what happened. Price just delivered quickly and quite nice. Sorry guys, can I just have a minute? I'll be back. Sorry guys, I'm back. So let's continue. And this was a beautiful one. Price just delivered eventually, which is quite nice. So let's go into daily. Any other FEG going high within that month? Yeah, we did have an FEG like here, which is quite nice. And that means we go down time frame daily, one hour to look for a sharp turn entry. What did we see? Price just went onto that, and we had an ST, not an ST actually, two candle rejection. Why? This was a previous day's candle, so that swing low right there. of that candle, previous day's candle, and we sweep that, creating that sharp turn off of that. Remember, this third candle just closed within the second candle, so stop loss swing below, swing low right there, and 1 to 2 as you can tell, but eventually price just took us out. And if you go into daily, any FEG on this month going high, we can tell there was no FEG going high. And if we look onto our returns, 1, 2, this brought us 2% and this took us 1%. That means this was a win 1% right there. And we have another pair right here. On this, I was quite bullish, right? Until we, I was bullish this month because we respected that. Also, you can tell we had respected that eventually. And my target was this FEG. So if that FEG gets tagged, I'm not looking for anything because these tend to be respected for price to continue low, right? If I want to continue low off of that, I just want to see 2 candle rejection before price has delivered to that swing high. Else, this might create an unusual context. Not interested on those terminologies. So let's go on to weekly to see if price we created any FEG of that. And this was around May, first candle of May, and no FEG, right? Let's go on to daily. So on daily, did we create an FEG? This was 13th, right? We had created this FEG right here, and price came into this FEG. But here the thing, just to note, this FEG was created around our fair value area. That means price had just delivered. May started like here, right? We didn't find any FEG continue targeting that that FEG, like the higher time frame FEG, right? We had seen that FEG created right there. I'm not, if I don't like this this PDLA being created around higher time frame PDLA. So you can tell we had a sharp turn right there. That sharp turn didn't get respected. We swept that. Price tend to do some stuff which I don't like. So on this month, I didn't get involved on this SPX 500. So that's a sacrificial lamp right there. The other one is GBP/USD, right here. So on GBP/USD, on this month, I was quite bullish. Why? This is an expansion candle. Actually, it's a disrespect candle. You can tell that we are. What's a disrespect candle? Disrespect candle is just a candle having a large body, right, and small wicks eventually. So we just disrespected this. If we were respecting that, we would have something close to this, right? So I was bullish targeting that swing highlight there. If I go into weekly was nice. Still, price, since I was targeting the high right there, right, and I know this was just off of a disrespect candle, I had this FEG which was created around April, right? And this was May, started like here. Beautiful. What did May do? May just tag that FEG, and that FEG became unusable. So if I go on to 4-hour time frame, we can tell once price just got tagged onto that narrative, and we had a sharp turn. We can tell this was a breakaway gap. As always, our stop loss below our bag right there, and 1 to 2, and eventually we got stopped out. Do we stop looking for entries? No. Why? Because we always have something called 2 candle rejection, a second chance to take an entry. That was a 2 candle rejection right there, a gap in 2 candle rejection, eventually a gap being created out. That means a sharp turn. Then we took our entry and we just covered the body. Actually, that candle, which the second candle which created the sharp turn, and 1 to 2, price delivered. Beautiful win, right? Let's go on to weekly. Any other gap being created? No. So this was okay. This is 20th. I guess the past week we have that gap, and we're still delivering off of that. You already see something, right? This month We're gonna take that gap and continue high. So that's a beautiful entry to look off of 4-hour time frame. So let's go on to daily. Do we have any bullish gap to continue high? So we can tell this was April, and May eventually started like here. Any gap? Wow. So we didn't have any gap. We had one like here. We had one like there. And let's just put it like here. That was okay. And target was around here. But what price did? 1 hour, we had a gap into that. Did we create an ST? No. We swept that low just for 2 candle rejection to happen. And what do we see? We just see that gap into, and we just see a gap out of that. So this would have been our entry around that, covering just below, and we would have been stopped out. 1 to 2. So stopped out. That means one out, 2 in, 1 out. That means break even, right? So this was a break even trade. Beautiful one. So after having that self-reflection off of these charts, let's look. As I marked, okay, my mouse just stopped working. Just a minute, guys. Okay, beautiful. So this was a break-even month for GBP USD right there. And if you look onto daily, any bullish FEG? No. But we have weekly FEG being created, and this can be taken off of this month of June. And as I said, I'll be marking my wins with green and my losses with red. So you can tell we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just ignore this. This is break even, and this we didn't have any entry right there. And these were all pairs which I took entry this month. So out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2 were losses, right? That means wins 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means you get it like 5 to 7, right? That's quite beautiful. And it looks like a win rate of around 58 to 60. So let's go on to my, let me share something else. So after doing that self-reflection right there, what do we get? So if these are the pairs, and this is an actual analysis for deviations from plan. So this was done beforehand. So the details right here were done beforehand. And as I was doing with you guys, I just found other details to which they don't follow this sequence, but mostly likely it was profitable month, right? So this is analysis for deviation from plan, actual performance versus hypothetical one. So if I'd followed my plan, the outcome would have been this in this sequence: win, 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 lose, win, win, lose, lose, win, lose, lose, win, giving a win rate of 58.3% and giving a net profit of 9 plus this to risk to reward. That's rewards right there. If I had to risk 1:2. And the reality is only 2 out of 12 trades were winners, giving a 16% right win rate. And losses were held longer, no strict SL either. Just ignore that because I had put my SL quite okay. But the other thing was swaps and commissions, which amplified losses. And I was like, okay, what's the root cause of all this? If I had to follow my trading plan mechanically, like what is seen right there, why did I end up just having 2 wins and 12 trades and other trades like 10 losses? What's the root cause of that? One, I just found out waiting for news. just waiting for the news days, right? Because my trading plan says if that day doesn't have news, I don't need to take that trade. But remember, we look for news beforehand within the weekly, right? So waiting for the news. If you look closely, let me just share my screen. Where are you? So if you look closely on my trading view right here, if I go off of any trade, let's say RDCHF and 1 hour time frame, and let's look onto that entry, just add the sessions right there. That entry would have been taken around the Asian session right there, right? And my time, and by what I always do, I look for entries off of these London and New York sessions. Why? Because there is high volatility, ignoring the Asian session right there, right? So if we look to Audi CHF, the entry was around Asian session, okay? So if I look onto New Zealand right there, the entry was of Asian session. There's a pattern being created right there, right? Look off of this, another right there, are we okay? There's the second one, the entry was of New York session. My bad, my mouse. Okay, just a minute, sorry guys. So the other one was off of New York session, and we had a loss, which is quite okay. But our win was around Asian session right there. There's something, there's a pattern being created right there. And our loss was around New York, that's okay. And GBP, you can tell from the pattern, right? I look for, after seeing the pattern, I was like, okay, so I tend to wait for these news days, then to look for the entries. But that doesn't work. And that doesn't work within my trading plan if I want to win. Okay, that's a big thing I want to take consideration following month. And the other thing is cost neglect, swaps. That's almost 10% of what I've lost. That's hard profitability. So how can I escape these swaps? That means, one, I either just get another platform challenge which is swap free. That means I need to pay extra money. That will solve my problem, and it will solve quite nice. That means all these swaps wouldn't be there. But two, just to keep my personal account and still paying for those swaps. Yeah, I just need to choose between of the two. The other thing is trying to know everything. What do I mean? I have already created my playbook, as you can tell, right here. But I tend to be involved, like looking for those short-term highs, short-term lows, looking for fair value areas, just trying to also take the MMC concepts into every trade I want to take. But still, I still have a beautiful trading plan like that, which plays out if I just follow it mechanically. Okay, that's something to learn, because that's the other root cause. The other thing is trading plan not executed mechanical. I just said, so if I want to execute this trading plan, just leave the emotions into the bed. Just trade mechanically. Okay, you see an FEG being created and that FEG get tagged, step in. When that entry just, the price just hit your SL, look for 2 candle rejection, step in. That's mechanical shit. Don't get involved with emotions. This happens when we look onto our balance. Okay, oh wow, I just lose $500 off of this trade. I look for the entry the next days, but you are missing those 2 candle rejections right there, to which will give you another 1% as a win. A win is a win in the market, right? So okay, I was like, that's beautiful, man. Now I just need to put those emotions onto my bed. Okay, after doing that, here is the progress tracking. And this matrix is within the May actual and May plan and target for the June. So win rate for May using my actual, I don't know, is that a trading plan? I don't know, man. that gives 16.7%. But if I had followed my trading plan, that would have given me 58.3%. But if I have done what we have done off of this section, that would have given me around 60%, right? And what's the target for June? The target for June, above 50%. That means 50-50. If I get a 50% risk to reward, I'll be on the win side, right? But if I get above that side, that's also will be nice. So average to risk reward ratio on this actual plan, what I did on this May, that was 1-to-1. And my plan is 1-to-2. What's the target for June? Still sticking to 1-to-2. Okay, these things will, the progress tracking just showed me something. Okay, I need to stick to 1-to-2 and stick to the trading plan, the actual trading plan. Then it will give me a win rate of 50% and above. Beautiful. What do I need next? I don't know, man. And this is the final step. It says pain exposes what you refuse to train. What did I do right here? I just trained off of what I've already done. If you guys refuse to train, then this is for you. Pain exposes what you refuse to train. And if it is painful, that means you're crying, you're doing every shit that is part of pain, depression, and so forth. The other thing is losses highlight untrained discipline in sticking to the plan. This just hit me hard. Like, that's what is happening right there, right? This is what has just happened off of here. And I don't know to you guys, but this is the real shit. And what's the June's focus? Mechanical execution, no emotions. And that was it for this session. Okay, let's go to Q&A. Beautiful. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, Kayode, you can go.
This is an awesome reflection. Quite anyway, the market has played out. That's when you see some things you're supposed to do and not to have done. But I think I also learned some things from here. And my question will have been most of the fair value gap that played out was not at the first rejection. And you answered just conclusively that if you miss the first trade, look out for a two-candle rejection.
Correct.
Not just abandon the trade and walk away.
Correct.
I think it's the same thing that actually affected me, and I also get emotional. You understand? But this is excellent. We can actually keep to mechanical things. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
Yeah. I first of all, I want to remove my own in terms of trading.
Yes.
I know, and I told you this at the beginning that I didn't have a strategy. I was just doing things. I'm sure Kayode knows what I'm talking about. I don't have a strategy. I just try to do things off the cuff. I
Yes.
just see it, and if I think I like it, I just go ahead. But what is the plan? I don't have one, which is why I wanted to surround myself with people like you and Kayode, people who can, I repeat, people who can stick to what they want to do. But from looking at what you have done, I'm not trying to tell myself, oh, even people who know it, they also lose. That is not the point because it doesn't help me. But there is something that I spotted.
Yep.
I'm sure it will be difficult for me to tell you, but I will try and say it anyway.
Yep.
I noticed that in your trade, the first thing is from your monthly, you take a bias.
Yep.
And the moment you take a bias, you step to the weekly, you are looking for FEG, which is
Correct.
to create the narrative,
Correct.
following your playbook. And those things I took from you. But the other thing I noticed was that you are drawing your FEG manually because I overheard you a couple of times saying you didn't see this gap. Now, that if I were to ask you, that
Yep.
gap that you didn't see, how do you think you can resolve that? Because if you didn't see a gap and it worked out, for me, that should be counted. If it plays out, it will be counted as a loss, even though you didn't take it. But
Correct.
it would have been different if for somehow you were able to know that the gap was there.
Yes.
But because you didn't know. So that is a question I wanted to answer. Not now, but we'll keep it to the corner. You need to find out what would you do for you to know that there is a gap. I have a suggestion, but I will keep that question. I will come to the suggestion on that bit. The other
Correct.
thing I want to say is that you were very open. You are showing us your account, your trade. Why did you do this? Why are you doing this? So I said to you, I will ask you some questions. They might be personal, but they will be personal only to the trading, nothing else. I'm not going to ask you, are you married? You are not married? No. But I want to ask you because we are here now. Why are you doing this? Why did you do this?
Okay. Any other question apart from that? I will answer
No,
all
no,
of them
no,
by the
no.
way.
I was going to go on to say, look, thank you very much. I've put those two questions to the side that you should come back to. The other thing I want to also reflect on is that I don't think so far, personally, from what I'm saying, I don't think there is a problem. I will still insist or suggest stick to the plan. If the plan doesn't require it doesn't require major kind of shift for now. The question we asked or something we saw was to do with trades happening during the Eastern session. You
Correct.
cannot you cannot be awake 24/7 because you want to trade. Now,
Sure.
I'm not also saying don't trade if you need the money or if you have to. But what I also noticed was that a lot of those pairs they were JP pairs, and JP is an Asian pair. So that was not to be was not something I didn't expect that could happen because there were a lot of JP pairs, meaning that those pairs will have volatility and volume and momentum during the Asian session.
Correct.
So that is what I want to say. So having said that, what I'm now saying that you may want to provide some perspective on one. How do you intend? I have my suggestion, but how do you intend to resolve that issue of once you have a monthly bias, you go to look for your fair value gap daily and weekly. You do it mechanically. So how do you intend to resolve that issue? Because that can be very, very well. Look, there weren't much, but there were about two or three. So and
Yes.
then why are you doing this? Thank
Okay,
you.
great. Those are beautiful questions. Okay, that's great. So to answer the first question was, how can I solve the seeing those FEGs? Like, for sure. Remember one thing, as I said, right? The self reflection. What I did on self reflection, like here, I was just opening the chart. I was like, okay, I just want to look onto these pairs. What happened, and what can I see hypothetically using my trading plan, right? And if you look closely, let me just share another screen. Mm, okay, if you look closely here, where is my trading view? On daily, there are some FEGs I had missed, right? But let's say this I had missed this FEG like there. But remember one thing that I have a watch list right here, right? For this watch list, I always look onto weekly time frames, but also daily. Every week we do those outlook, right? Eventually missing a certain FEG that will be rare. Why? Because I have missed on this scenario because I was just passing through to see how can I reflect for this month. That was the point. But honestly, for 30 days, just missing an FEG which is being created within 3 days, and we do those outlooks of every week. To me, that is quite impossible. and it will be, if it happens, that's maybe I don't look though for the charts for those 3 days. And also remember, for trading days we only have 5 days, so meaning that FEG will be created within the 3 days, and 2 days are looking for those entries, right? So it's quite rare because I always do those weekly outlook. That's the answer for the first question. And the other answer, yeah, okay, you can ask.
Sorry to
No
take
problem.
you back. Now, you actually started the class from the monthly time frame, and every week you also do a weekly forecast.
Yep.
Is your weekly forecast in line with your monthly bias? That's my question.
Yeah, if you look closely, it does align with monthly bias. I do always do for the weekly, and also remember, if I do weekly, I always start on higher time frames. Let's say on monthly, right? So let me just show you an example. Okay. Let me go just to Discord. So this Discord right there. Let's go on to Foxy setups right there. So every week, you can check. Every week, I just look for the arguments. I start from the monthly time frame, then weekly, then daily. That's what I do every week. You can tell we always start for the monthly. Why? Why do I start for the monthly? Right? Why? Because you might look onto only weekly, and if you don't look onto monthly, let's say I just focus on weekly, but monthly price has already delivered. On weekly, I say, okay, I'm bullish, but price has already delivered on 2 monthly PDLA. So meaning that you're going against of what you have created. That means if a price has delivered on that PDLA, we don't look for any entries. We move to another pair, right? Unless we see otherwise, let's say that month run liquidity, the current month just run liquidity, creating those FEGs going high. Yeah, that's the answer for the question, but you can check. We always start onto the monthly.
I will attest to that. Yes, you do start from the monthly.
Yeah,
I remember that very well.
great. The goal is the goal of starting from the monthly is just to align with the monthly's bars, because price tend to respect those PDLAs from higher time frames. That's what we are trying to avoid.
Thank you.
Okay. Bozo, any question you can tell us?
The second question: why are you doing this? You were
Yeah,
showing us, and that I'm really.
yeah, correct. So to answer the second question, why I'm just sharing these details, like what has just happened? Wow. I just closed the meeting. Damn, that's crazy.
Okay,
Sorry,
he's
guys.
back.
Yeah, I'm back. Sorry.
Okay.
So the other thing is why I'm just sharing this. As I said at first. So the goal of this my trading community is just to make money, right? That's the goal, because I know you guys have learned a lot, and I'm not here just to tell you, okay, psychology is the problem, you need to do this and that, you need to deep dive onto MMC to know high short term highs, to understand these breakaway gaps, to understand rejection gaps. Right? The goal here is just, guys, we have this forex market right there. The market every day, $6 trillion is being moved, right? What if we take around $500 every day? Okay, let's say $500 every week. That means to $2,000 a month. That's it. That's the goal. The goal is not just to create another cause or another cult. The goal is just to take those small amounts from those 6 trillions which have been moved every day. That's why I'm doing this. So I have nothing to hide. There's no reason of hiding, man. Because if you're making it, you're making it. If you're not, then yeah, you're not. So that's the goal.
No, thank you very much. Sorry to jump in. Thank you very much. I've not seen it before, so that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Kayode would agree with me. We've been to so many places. We've been around so many places.
Yep.
It's never done. The best they can show you is just tell you that okay, this happened, and that if you are not satisfied, well, tough. Take it and look. Don't get me wrong. I just wanted to know maybe there was a reason, something else. I don't know. I'm not. I mean, if you go back to when I met you the first time, I spoke to
Yep.
you, I was speaking with
Correct.
you. I told you everything. I said everything, so many things.
Yep.
So that I'm not. You shouldn't be surprised me asking this anyway. So that's
No
just it.
problem.
I'm sure Kari knows my person. He knows. He understands that he's not surprised I'm asking this because it's something he knows I can ask. So I
Yep.
really appreciate and I wasn't. I mean, I told you all of this before when you kept asking me why. I said no. The things you did. You told me that there was something different, and you can see even up to now, you are not proving me wrong. You are proving me right. I was right all along. So I really, really, really thank you, brother.
Yeah.
I really say it again. I thank you. Okay. I will thank God I'm meeting you this time.
Thank
Now,
you.
I
You
told
too.
you that I wanted us, Kayode is listening to me now. I was trying to say that, look, I wanted us to, you said it, that's fine. You want us to keep it as it is now. But I wish we could, look, it's a trading community, you say, but if you hear me, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you right now.
Okay. I just, I just wish we can make this, we can be closer. Yeah, but we are trading, but we can be closer. But it's okay for now. That's fine. This is how you want it. No problem. We are happy. We shouldn't take it beyond this for now. But if later there is a need, we will take it to another level. But that's all I want
Yeah.
to say. We will take it to
No.
another level. Really. Thank you.
Yeah,
Really.
got it. No, don't mention it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. So yeah, I guess apart from that, my session is that's it. That was it. I just wanted to show you something. So
Okay.
this the goal of this is just this is on my end, like my personal self reflection. I guess before you guys enter the market this week, you do your personal self reflection and see, did you follow your trading plan? Well, it's not about what went long, what went right, what's this survivorship bias, these are just all these trades. Just remove those everything and just say, okay, let me just look this just as fresh and let me just try and execute my trading plan in hindsight. Will I win or will I lose? That's was it. Yeah, Coyote, you can speak out.
Yeah, please, before you go,
Yep.
I did send a cat JPY on the trade idea.
Yep, I saw
Can you
that.
please just maybe in one way or the other reflect it
Yep.
with your trading plan? Let's just see. Before I know definitely by Monday or before the end of today, you send in your forecast for the month and for the week. Thank you.
Yeah, so you need us to go through a quick off of like here, like
Yes, yes. If you can look at it for us or for me rather, JPY.
yeah, no problem, no problem. Let me just do that quick. Do, 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 do. Beautiful. I'm sharing my screen right now, and let's go to. Is it? Let me just go into suggestions. Okay, card JPY. It's right here. So I will start on my monthly time frame, like there. Okay, this was May, and currently, if I look closely, Now on the previous price action, okay, we had this FEG like here, which didn't hold. Price hold off of this 2 candle rejection to continue low. Price has delivered onto this context area, into this context, let's say context target like there, and we can tell at first price just respected and create that respect candle, but next April just swept that, means that price respected this. So the next target is the swing point. What's the swing point? We can tell the swing point is like there, but we had this imbalance. This imbalance got just to view the market. These are just imbalances. Imbalances are just same as FEGs, but that is quite another thing. But I tend to also to look onto this because this imbalance got also respected. For this April, I wasn't looking for this pair. Why? Because we had a 50-50 scenario right there. And currently, we can tell that we are respecting something. And what are we respecting off of this candle? We are respecting this. This matches candle right there. So for this scenario, honestly, I would have been 50-50. Why? Because first we had this FEG like here, right? And price didn't deliver off of that FEG. Price just delivered off of 2 candle rejection right there, right? And what would have been a target if I was a swing trader? My target would have been this point of interest right there. That is a swing low right there. But see, price just delivered off of that, and we are just seeing these wicks right there, respecting that. If I go on to lower time frames, let's say 4-hour time frame, we can see just price me add something called seek and destroy mode. Seek and destroy mode means that FEG is not holding at all. You can see a lot of sharp turns right there, but eventually price had delivered onto that high. Where did this come from? Did I do the analysis of this? So the goal right here is just to understand the bars. If I get the bars right for this month, then it will be a win for us. Okay, weekly, monthly. To me, honestly, if I just see that I'm trying to add a lot of items into just understanding the bars, I tend not to get interested on that pair. Why? Because we just respected that, right? The next candle, let's say today's month should have been closing above of that, taking that high. That means landing liquidity. But what happened? We didn't take that high. We didn't land liquidity. We swept, and also we swept that. So this gives me a scenario of 50-50. Means bullish holding, bearish holding. That means that's a 50-50. Honestly. Then if I get this scenario right there, trust me, I don't go lower time frames, because that means I'm adding a lot of stuffs into my mind, trying to force a bias right there. So yeah, that's what I tend not to do. Honestly, I'll be 50-50. And in case I see land on liquidity right there, that's it. Yeah, Bozo, you can ask.
But I think in the next 2 hours, we should know what the candle will be, because we don't have the monthly candle yet, do we?
No, there's no need of. Actually, there is no need of seeing the current monthly candle. Why? Because we're utilizing 2 previous candles and also PLAs to understand our direction, right?
Okay.
And also remember, we are using 2 candle. We are using candle signs also, just to understand our bars. So for me, this gives me a 50-50 vibe. So I wouldn't look onto that.
Can you look at GB card then? GB card, quickly. GB card. Just look at the monthly buyers.
Okay,
and the GB card, yes.
Right there. Okay, for me, GB card, for the monthly bars, this was April. Price just respected off of that, what do we call that, FEG right there. And my target was right there. Remember, same thing. This is narrative, looking for entries off of that context. Price hasn't delivered yet, right? Because price hasn't delivered yet. Still, I'm bullish on this scenario. Why? Because this FEG had hold. You see the difference between the last pair I did analysis? Here the thing. on GBP JPY, on CAD JPY right there. If you see on CAD JPY on monthly, we had this FEG, right? And this was our narrative, and this was our context target. And this area right there is where we look for those bearish entries. But price has already delivered, right? If price has delivered, what do we want to see off of candle signs? We want to see this got respected. Our previous month, May, just created an expansion candle right there. But what did it do? It didn't do that way. That means we go on to another thing called arguments. Bullish holding, bearish holding. That is 50-50. But if you look onto GBP card like there, monthly, bullish holding. Any bearish scenario like there? No, unless we go deep into candle signs. But remember, the common mistake is just looking off of these two candles just to understand candle signs and direction for that month. No, we just start off of PDLAs, then we go on to candle signs. So you can, we are bullish.
If you go to weekly now, we won't see anything.
So if I go into weekly, what do I want to see? I just want to see FEGs holding high. As you have seen on my previous self-reflection, there were no FEGs, but if you go into daily, I get to see an FEG going high. I take that entry. Why? Because we haven't delivered yet onto my point of interest.
Okay, I think this is where it is really deep, where I will need to go back again and see these bits. It's very important, which is why I'm saying it is one thing to know candle signs, but there is a different thing in the application, because in the application, you are making it very straight now. Monthly bias, you're only looking for FEG in that bias direction, weekly and daily, and that's
so
it. The context is delivered. Until after that, no movement. Thank you very much.
If price has just delivered off of that, hey, I'm just taking this pair out of that. I'm not interested in that pair. If it hasn't delivered yet, and we can see that we have our narrative, our context target, and our context right there, that means we are still delivering off of that. That means, here the thing, if I were to trade on monthly, right, looking for those narrative on monthly, so here we have our narrative, we have our target, right, and we have our context right there. So I'll go on to daily, right? Daily, I'm just looking for that sharp turn. We have that sharp turn right there, another sharp turn right there. Taking my entry, 1 to 2. My entry will be right there, and this is a breakaway gap. Stop loss off of just below that, and 1 to 2, or within the context area, but 1 to 2, right there, 1 to 2. And since I'm a swing trader, this will take also like 6 months, 7 months, years just to deliver like here. So that's it. It's the same scenario, just a looping cycle.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay. Thank you for this perspective.
Yeah, that's great. But if you look on CAD JPY, it's 50-50, because we had respected that. Price has already delivered. And a good example is, let's say we were looking for entry off of that, right? Going to daily. Daily, you want to see a sharp turn first. Price has just tagged that FEG right here. Sharp turn, we got at that gap into, but no sharp turn. Another gap right there, no sharp turn. But we had swept this, another gap, 2 candle rejection, no sharp turn. But we want to see a gap out. We saw that gap out right there, and this just closed within. And this would have been your entry right there, and stop loss above that swing high right there, just right there, and 1 to 2. Just 1 to 2. Remember, still we are within the context area, right? So that's it. It's the same thing, just loop over and over. That means you start from PDLA if you're looking for buyers. PDLA, then you go into candle signs. You don't start only from candle signs.
So I keep talking because I'm really fascinated that it is so simple. So why the challenge? No, I'm not joking. Sorry, Kade. I don't know, maybe you want to come in. It is simple. Like the way you are seeing it and saying it now, I don't see why this is difficult. Maybe I'm oversimplifying it. Kayode, please, I really need you to come in here. It is simple.
I was just also thinking what Sir Felix just said on the way
Yeah.
you are narrating it. That's simple, but all this comes after a long experience. It's not just a job. So you have been on the chat, you have been on this for maybe a period of time, and experience has taught you a lot of things. I am just coming into this barely 1 month now, or 1 month, maybe 1 month, and so I'm still getting to understand something. There's something you said here which I have not heard before.
Yep.
You need to see the CRA before you go to Kandu Science. You just said it. I don't think I've heard this anywhere before. But if I may ask, the Polygon USDT you did, was that a PDRA?
Which one?
There was a Polygon USDT you did shared last month. You started from a monthly time frame chart, and
Yeah.
I don't. Was that a PDRA?
So okay, great. So great. That's a great question. Also, that's a great question. Okay, let's just take an example of I don't remember which pairs. Let me just go right here. How do you see chef?
Sorry, can you
Yeah.
go to that, Polygon? Can you go to the Polygon USDT? Remember you did
Okay.
something on
Okay, that was on crypto.
crypto,
Polygon, yeah, Polygon USDT right there. So this is a Polygon USDT, and we had okay, this was monthly, and that was it this month actually of May?
I think it was April. It was April. Yeah, you did it on April. April. Okay. Anyway, this is it before you. Maybe look at it and see what you want to say.
It was in an all-time low.
I just wanna remember, did I do it within my within my community, my Discord server? Okay. I remember. That is from the okay, I do remember where it is from. It was from Ajo's group, right? Yeah, let me just go. Just a quick one. Okay. Crypto was on crypto, yeah. Will I see that? Let me just close off that. Okay, let me just look onto the chat. I hope I didn't clean. I did clean that, okay.
If I remind you, you took the monthly bias. From the monthly bias, you went to a weekly, and there was a fair value gap weekly. And from the weekly fair value gap, you went to the 4 hours to secure, to look out for a trade. And then you took the first trade, and the second trade you took on the 1 hour. The first trade was on the 4 hour, and it delivered to the target.
Yeah, sure. I do remember that. Let me just look onto my Notion right here. Okay, May. Because I guess this month I didn't look on crypto at all. So that was April. April. April 20th. Just a minute, guys. Yeah, okay, okay. I didn't see it, but let's go through it. No problem, no problem. I guess that was April around 20th. Let me just ignore the replay too. So I was bearish actually on April on this Polygon. Why? Because we had this breakaway gap, right? And that breakaway gap, that means price is not intended to retrace back right there. That means we are still bearish. We are still bearish looking to sweep this low, or we might learn liquidity of that. So I was bearish that month. And if I go into weekly, okay, will I get these details actually? Okay, let me just do this. But you have understood why it was bearish on this month, right? This is off of this PDLA fair value, this breakaway gap. Breakaway gap price tend not to trace back onto this breakaway gap. Price tend to create another gap right here if it wants to retrace back and continue lower. And also why it was bearish, we just learned liquidity right there. And remember one thing, we have something called fair value area. We had these bodies right there. So this is another bearish fair value area to continue low off. These were the two confluences that made that month bearish. But also the other thing was the candle signs, right? This candle just learned liquidity off of that. If this candle wouldn't have learned liquidity, I would have been bullish targeting this fair value gap right there. But we learned liquidity. Candle signs, check. PDLAs, fair value gap, fair value area, bag, check. So what makes me not to be bearish? Nothing. So going weekly, here's a gap, right? We had this gap, which is quite beautiful and was on March. And this is, was it March or May? I guess I was short, but this was around March. Okay, I don't know. I don't remember. But let's say that was a gap right there. Took that. So this was 4-hour time frame. Let's just see if it was this, because I was bearish on Polygon USDT. So closely.
You said it was a bullish setup.
It was a bullish setup, right?
Yes.
Yes, it was bullish.
Okay, got
It was
confused.
bullish. We need to look for that.
Okay, where are you guys looking at actually? So month 3, if it was bullish, then this was because of I was looking on BTC. I guess BTC was heading high, and for Polygon we had swept that low right here. We had swept this low right there, here, and that low got.
Yes, that was the one. It was that.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yes,
So
yes, you swept the low, and then you close below it. You close below it, and then if you go to weekly now, as you are now, if you go to weekly, there was a fair value gap. It was from that fair value gap you created a narrative for the 4 hours.
yeah. Okay. Great. This is a sharp turn. Also, that was a gap into our sweep and a gap out. So if you see this a sharp turn, that means we are reversing, obviously, right? So we had that gap right there. And Coyote, to answer your question, like we can, after doing everything, I was bearish, right? But everything changed when we had swept that previous month's low, because that was my target, actually, bearish target, the nearest target, right? I wouldn't target anything around here, not randomly. That was my target. After seeing that we are respecting off of that, and another confluence is BTC was going high. Why? If you look to these other pairs, all depend on BTC's movement. Same for the other pairs, depending on dollar index, right? And the other thing is, you asked, do I always, remember the last time you asked, do I always keep the same bias if I'm looking for the monthly time frame. And to answer your question is, why do I always change some of my buyers during the weekly? This is the reason. Price tend also to deliver on those PDLAs on higher time frame and tend to respect them. So if you always keep your bearish scenario, then this wouldn't be, I would have missed this entry, or it would have taken me out. If you look onto weekly, if this was I was still bearish and I wasn't looking on a higher time frame, that monthly, to see that sweep, then I would have taken an entry right there, then I would have been dead.
Okay,
So
stop. Can you stop?
yeah.
Now, this is exactly what you did. If you are, as you are here now, you can see that fair value gap.
Yeah.
It was on this fair value gap. You can see the week that, and then the third candle. Yes.
Yep.
And then that tagged, and then it went and delivered on
Yep.
and delivered exactly. This was the trade. That was it.
Okay,
And
beautiful.
because if you got in 4 hours, that is what delivered on the 4 hours. And then because the first time when you took your 2 to 1, later you said because you had not reached the target, you now went to 15 minutes to finally go and take the second trade.
So
that
the
was
second,
that was it.
yeah, the
It was
second
this.
trade, I guess, was taken along here.
Yes. And then that was the one that finally delivered on 15 minutes using the 4
Price should,
hours to frame it. That was it.
price should have delivered like that. So if we go,
Yes.
so this this is just a loop, you guys, if you don't understand. So you go into 15 hours, it's 15 minutes, and you get, where are you? Just move the sessions right there. Still price, if hasn't delivered yet to the higher time frames, then you still look for those ST. There was an ST right there, took another entry for that, price delivered, and boom. So if you understand the candle signs, the bias and the narrative and the context, these things just go back and forth, right? So yeah, I guess this was the entry, Coyote, right? And what
It
made me,
was, I just remember because that picture stayed with me. It was so fascinating. I can tell you that. That's why
yeah,
we didn't forget it. The picture is too clear.
yeah, beautiful. Hope we have answered the question, Coyote.
But why can't Eric? You have not answered the question. Why can't you just keep it that simple? It is so simple for the monthly buyers. You just stick to that. Why?
So the other okay, it comes down to if you so let me just look up into something like here and tell you why. Okay, if you look onto our Discord, right? If you look onto our Discord, we have that something called a bio. Like it says, simplicity isn't easy, right? If you have to truly understand it to remove the culture, and so is trading. So first you need to understand the ins and outs of those stuffs, right? Then take all those stuffs and just take those stuff which mean a lot. That means if it was simple, right, everybody would have done that. But it needs someone who understands the ins and outs, then simplify it to the simple version of it and share it. That's what Agile tries to do. And through that, I just found my way, which is quite easy enough. The thing which I'm fighting is just getting detached off of my emotions, right? Just doing this stuff mechanical. If I do that, I guess let's see this month, because we'll do the same cup.
Look, I will tell you this for free.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. If you can come up and just tell us monthly, weekly, and daily bias, leave the rest.
Because the rest is simple.
Not simple. I'm not saying simple. There's a reason I say this.
Yeah.
Because if we have to grow in it, we must also learn to make our mistake. But the heavy lifting, I'm serious. The heavy lifting is this bias. You can see now, Kayode did a bias using monthly. He did everything. But you have just looked at it and you say, oh, no, this is 50-50. Do you know what that means? Because that means that If you drive a car, I don't know if you drive. If you drive a car,
Yep.
if you come to a junction where you can either go left or right, if the where you are going, you are supposed to turn left, but for some reason you decide to turn right, it
Yep.
doesn't matter how fast you are driving, you will never get to the destination. In fact, the faster you drive, the further away you are from the destination. So,
Correct.
what am I trying to say? You see that monthly and weekly and daily. If you do that, it means you have given the direction. It's not left
Yep.
for us how fast we want to drive. That's why I said to you, if you just only do that, what I'm telling you, leave the rest. Because
Okay.
that rest is what you are struggling with. Because you are showing us now, it's very easy for you to look for the monthly, weekly, and daily bias. That for you is very simple.
Correct.
Because if you look at it now, if that is how to win, you would have made 100%. That as we saw now, those bias, they were all correct. But where the issue came was now you were not trying to take the trade. That's where the challenge came. So why that is what I'm telling you. If
Yes.
you can just only do this direction,
Okay.
monthly, weekly, and daily, you leave the rest. I'm talking for myself now. You leave the rest. The rest, I can tell you, aside from free, we come out of it because I just gave you the analogy. You are driving, you come to a T junction.
Yep.
The left says go to Dar es Salaam. The right says go to Mombasa.
Correct.
And if you decide now to like you are going to Mombasa and you go left, it doesn't matter how fast you are driving. You're not going to get to Mombasa.
Yeah, correct.
But if you see as you come to the T junction, the direction says Dar es Salaam, go left, Mombasa, go right. And you are going to Dar es Salaam, you enter left. That's it. So you are on the right track. You can drive slow, 10 miles per hour. You can drive fast, 50 miles per hour. It doesn't matter.
Still, yeah, got you.
I don't know, maybe Kayode can take it from there, but this is all I'm telling you because that is easy for you to do. It doesn't take 3 minutes. Just start from there. And we can also help. Believe me, I can tell you for free. If you do that bit, just leave the rest. Kayode I can tell you that he can monitor the sharp tone if that is his assignment. He can do that for free. We won't even pay him to do it. But you just bring this daily, weekly, and monthly. If you can bring that, leave the rest. I don't know. Kayode, please say something, please.
Thank you, Mr. Boss. Actually, that will cut the learning curve for us, and even for you too, because the load wouldn't be much on you. We
Yep.
also be putting our inputs, and the target, like you said, is profitability. And because he has asked you why you're doing this, you said, guys, let's take if it's $500 or whatever from the market. So at that
Correct.
point, you've done your bit. Now we are doing our bit, and we are all on the same community. Then the objective of you setting up the community can be easily achievable. So we really appreciate if you can do that for us. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Thank you also on your side. I just want to show you something before we go. Just hope this will be seen. Let me just split my screen. Bam. Okay, just splitted my screen. Let me just share. By the way, you guys, do you like this? So yeah, I just want to share something. Remember, we were looking on EU and starting from the monthly. If this was monthly, like last month's month, you can tell from the. I hope you can you can see like here. We were finding our bias, and if you look currently, you can tell that this was this was high, which was taken like there. Still, we were looking for bias and would have saying that we are bullish, but we need more confirmation to that. And as you can see, it was a 50-50 week due to prices already delivered on monthly. And also, if you look onto that week, we did this analysis. If I go down that week, we had this fair value area, right? Which is quite nice. Nice fair value area overlapping with that fair value gap, right? Overlapping with that fair value gap right here. And we would say that still we are not bullish. Why? If you go down time frame, we need that fair value area to hold price to deliver onto that high right here. And that was our target. But if you go into daily, I was 50-50. Why? Because we had fair value gap holding price low and fair value gap holding price high. And if you look currently on that, you can tell that price is going on to one side and disrespecting another side. Look closely. We just respected this fair value area right there, and disrespected this fair value area right there. So what's our target if we are moving so? That means our target is this high right here. So what are we looking off of this month is, let's say we have known that our month we are bullish, targeting that. But the other thing to note, we have left an FEG right here, right? But if you go down time frame, we are respecting these highs right there. So which one is which? Here is where we might get confused, because FEGs price tend to come onto these FEGs and continue high. By this gives me on monthly, I would say I'm still bullish. Why bullish? If we will retrace back, that means I will be like I will step aside and not look for anything until we get tagged and continue high. Here is where I'll be involved. Like G, here is where I'll be involved. But as you can see, this is a Lisbeth candle. What are we respecting? If you go to the time frame, we're respecting a fair value area right here, right? So that means we are still bullish. What do we need to see? We just need to see fair value gaps going high on weekly and daily. But do we have any daily fair value gap going high? No. So if price will retrace back and get tagged and continue high, because these are just magnet, that means price will just move this. That means we're creating FEGs going low, holding price. That is where we don't need to get involved. We just want to be involved when we see fair value gap going high. Starting from here, we might continue, or we might continue low and boom. But that doesn't change our bias, right? We're still looking for those FEGs until price has delivered or until otherwise. And this was done off of like it was 19th, and that's what price is doing right now, just respecting this fair value area below, but it is leaving a fair value gap. So let's be cautious on that. Hope you understand from that. And on EU, you'll be looking for those STs of weekly and daily. Easy peasy. Just do it mechanical, no emotions. As remember, for me, this month I'll be removing the calendar away. Why? Because I found the following of the calendar's days that led to unprofitable days. So I'll just move the calendar and see what the market will give me. Just mechanical trading strategy. That's it. That's what I wanted to share, actually.
Awesome.
You like it, right?
Business. He doesn't want to see this. He doesn't want to hear about it. All right. Thank you very much. Really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well done.
no problem, guys. Thank you for showing up, man. That's great.
Take care.
Okay, bye.
Yes.
Okay, take care, guys. Bye.
Yes.
Cheka tuko pale. Na? Nimekata nini? Beba shawoga.